Great, getting lots of responses there. Thank you very much for that. Well, good morning. My name is Ken Shaw. I guess good afternoon if you're on the East Coast or perhaps joining us from elsewhere in the world. I'm the CEO of SOS Online Backup, and today is one in an ongoing series of webinars we do here every week focused at the SOS Backup platform, but also our partnership program and what it takes to become an SOS partner. We've got 1,000 partners around the world. We're adding between 50 and 100 partners a month. It's an exciting partner community that we're building. So thanks for attending. The agenda for today will be a brief company overview. We presume that most of you are at least vaguely familiar with who we are and what we do. We'll then have a brief look at the backup industry in general and the changes that have been occurring in the industry, the move to online backup that's underway. Then we'll turn and look at the SOS technology platform, and then the partnership program itself, how it works and how you can get on board. There'll be a question and answer session at the end of the webinar, but we actually find that the best webinars that we do are the interactive ones. So if you've got questions, I'd encourage you, starting right now, to type them in. And you use the questions tool of the GoToWebinar software to type a question really about anything you'd like, and we'll make sure we answer that throughout the presentation. But we want to try and have as much of a discussion as possible. The audience for today is anybody who would consider selling online backup. So you might be an affiliate, you might own a blog. More traditional partners for us are typical IT VARs, people who resell IT goods and services, and selling into any market, whether it's consumer and home users, small business, or enterprise, or what our typical partner profiles are, a hybrid IT firm that sells into all three of those sectors. So without further ado, we'll dive in. So just briefly about SOS's background. We've been around for nearly 10 years now. Founded originally in Australia, we're now a global firm headquartered in California. Operations around the world in Asia, America, and Europe. 150 or so employees. As I mentioned earlier, roughly 1,000 partners around the world, adding between 50 and 100 partners a month. What we've always focused on doing is leading the technology, or being a technology leader in the online backup space. So that's always been our claim to fame, and we've been pretty successful at doing that. I make that claim, but it's backed up by many awards that we've won. For example, we've been PC Magazine Editor's Choice Award winner for the last 5 years running, which is a pretty unique feat. You don't see many software companies do that. So we're very proud of our technology. The other key differentiator for SOS, and the other thing that I think stands us apart from the crowd, is that we focus on being an online backup platform for resellers. So more than 80% of our revenue comes from our partners, people like you, people in the audience today. And we've got more than 350 fully white-labeled partners, and then partners of other stripes as well. So that really is a different focus than most of the other online backup companies in the market who focus almost exclusively on building their own brand. We focus on building your brand. In terms of the market segments that we focus on, we're very firmly focused on the small business sector, but we've got offerings in the consumer space and in the enterprise space. So our strong spot is really SMB, but if you sell to home users, we've got solutions for you. Similarly, if you sell to enterprise, we've got very good solutions for parts of the enterprise. And this slide really encapsulates what it is that we do. We take all of our technology and infrastructure and know-how, and we then run that through the filter of your business. So we take your logo and your branding and your products and services, and we determine a way to profitably sell online backup for you. So whether that's bundling with existing services that you sell or having it as a standalone product, we work with you on all elements of product delivery all the way through sales and marketing consulting to help you get into the market. And at the end of the day, it's about helping you drive incremental, high-margin, recurring revenue from selling backup as a managed service. And here on screen is just a couple of examples of the sort of white labeling we do. So these are screenshots of various software rebrands that we've done, as well as rebranded marketing material. Anything you see at SOS is rebrandable, from our website to all of our marketing material to the software to the iPhone application. Everything can be skinned to your brand. So to understand online backup, we often I mean, to understand where we are now, we sort of need to take a look at the last 5 years in the backup industry, because there's been some pretty large shifts. Traditionally, the backup landscapes look like this on this slide. In consumer, there's really been no backup standard. You've had a myriad of different solutions, usually homegrown, USB disks, hard drive, flash memory keys, CDs, floppy disks, the whole range. Small business, on the other hand, you've had tape has been the dominant platform. Disk has started to come up in recent years, particularly in the last 5, but for the last 25 years, tape's been the predominant platform in small business. And tape still represents the single biggest competitor to online backup today. We'll talk a lot more about that soon. In enterprise, it's been varied. It's hard to make generalizations about enterprise, but it's generally a 3-part play. You've got some hardware, you've got some software, and you've got services. Those services and the labor component is a very interesting component, because most backup technologies have always been extremely labor intensive, whether it's setting them up or verifying recovery, rotating media off site. There's always been a very significant hidden cost associated with the manpower required to drive these solutions. Whereas with online backup, you've got a fully integrated software as a service solution, which combines the software, the hardware, the services, and the support in a simple subscription model. It's set and forget, deploy over the network software that dramatically reduces your total cost of ownership. And we're seeing a big shift away from tape because of that. So a study by the Santa Clara Group shown the tape backup industry over the last 3 years shrink from $2.5 billion to $1.5 billion. And if that trend continues, which we all believe it will, we're likely to see tape decline as a backup technology over the next 5 years into being just a legacy technology. So where's that spend going? To the cloud is the generalization. Another study by CTO Edge magazine found that more than 70% of CIOs and CTOs surveyed intend to move part or all of their backup burden to the cloud. So we're seeing, and this is borne out by what we're seeing in the market today. We're seeing a massive uptick in online backup sales. So the challenge, I guess, that I pose to everybody in the audience today is, based on this quote from one of our existing partners, if you don't sell your customers cloud-based backup, someone else is going to. So why not you? Why should you lose the opportunity to have that business from your customers? Because they are going to use online backup. The question is just which provider they're going to get it from. And so here's a brief example of the type of TCO analysis you can do for your customers with online backup. This comes from a real customer scenario who migrated from a tape array, a tape-based backup solution to our online backup solution through one of our partners. And their cost was roughly a sixth. So you can see the first year cost on the tape solution for the hardware and the software, $6,100. And with online backup, it was $1,000 a year. What's even more interesting about this, though, is that in selling the hardware as VARs and IT resellers, the margin implies single digit. So it's very thin margins, not recurring revenue. So in this case, the margin on that tape solution, which the customer in the end did not go with, was going to be about $500 for the partner. Whereas in partnership with us, the reseller ended up making $500 a year for a 5-year contract, so $2,500. So the solution's a better technology for the customer at a much cheaper price for the customer, and yet still bears far more margin dollars and revenue for the reseller in the market. So it's really good for everybody in the supply chain. And so just some quick highlights of the benefits of online backup compared to hardware. Online backup deployment is simple. There's no equipment to deploy, so it's set and forget software. Coverage, really important point. Traditional hardware-based backups just simply fail in today's distributed data environment. So if you've got a tape array on the server, your laptops aren't being backed up to it, your iPhones aren't being backed up to it, your BlackBerries aren't, branch offices aren't. You've got a real problem with distributed user data. Whereas with online backup, every single device is connected to the backup cloud. So we can back up your BlackBerry, your iPhone, your iPad, your laptop, and then, of course, we can also back up your desktops and your servers. There isn't media. There is no media with online backup. Recovery becomes a user-driven thing. So recovery no longer needs to go through the IT department. The users can recover their files on demand. Security. Traditional hardware-based backup isn't secured in any way. Data is usually not encrypted. Whereas with online backup, you've got military-grade encryption at every point through the stack, traditionally. Access to data, you can literally access your data from an iPhone. So not only can you recover your own data, but wherever you are, you've got immediate real-time access to your data. We're going to talk a lot more about that later on in the presentation. And so the cost for online backup, despite the fact online backup is a better technology, it's still at a better price, as we saw on the previous slide, and is still richer for you, the IT reseller. So our value proposition to you is that we aim to help you change backup from being a customer pain point for your customers and a cost center for you, and turn it into a sales and profit center for your business. So just quickly, one of the common questions we get is how big is the market, and is it too late to get in? And the short answer is the market's rather large, and no, it's not too late to get in. Total backup industry is well scoped and well understood, and it's roughly a $10 billion annual business between hardware, software, and services, and across the three horizontals of home users, SMBs, and enterprises. Online backup today is standing at less than $1 billion, so about $700–800 million. In terms of the growth, most pundits agree that online backup, the cloud-based backup, is poised to take a 70 or 80% market share over the next 5 years. So we're looking at very significant growth. The industry is going to get 6 or 7 times bigger than it is today. So this is a very good time to get into the business. A year from now might be too late, but now is very much a good time to get in and take advantage of the crazy growth that we're experiencing, in particularly the home user and small business sectors. All right, so let's turn to the technology. This is often